Hello and welcome back, Wreaper Wrestlers, to another Wreaper Live. I was actually just on here just a little bit ago with Sophia Mirabella, but now I'm switching gears and I will be talking with SOLIN Piiersy in just a few moments. You might know SOLIN from her time at Menlo College, but she also just recently competed at the UWW ranking series event, the Yasar Dogu. And so I definitely wanted to bring her on today and talk about Yasar Dogu things, Menlo things, and what she's up to now. And so I will be sending her to join us on the live. So thank you for joining us, everyone, today. Wreaper Wrestlers, hello, hello. I am out of the DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. Hello, SOLIN. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome. It's so good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How about you? How are you doing?
I am doing great. It's an awesome Thursday. I just talked with Sophia Mirabella just, right before you came on, and now I'm getting the opportunity to chat with you today. So I really couldn't ask for anything more, but I'm super pumped to have you on with us today. I know you've got some things going on, and I just wanted to chat with you about some different things. So first of all, tell us, where are you calling in from and what are you up to?
Yeah, so I'm actually calling in from my humble abode, San Jose, California. It's not too far from Menlo, actually. It's about like a 30-minute drive. But yeah, so it's just a work day for me, and right now I'm on my lunch break. So yeah.
Awesome. What do you do for work?
I'm a senior business development rep.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool. So you've got your work side, and then you've got your other work with wrestling. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then of course, like I just mentioned just right before you got on, you competed recently at the 2022 UWW ranking series event, the Yasar Dogu. It's the first ranking series event this year for for international competition leading up to the Senior World Championships, which will be later this fall. But this was your first go at senior level international competition, and I just wanted to know, like, kind of what your experience was and how that was like for you.
Yeah, it was a fantastic experience. It was really interesting because I haven't been overseas before. I haven't traveled internationally. Granted, I have gone to Canada a few times, one for a wrestling tournament, but not necessarily overseas.
Sure.
So the opportunity kind of just fell into my lap. Team USA reached out to me because some other people were not able to make it, and I was so ecstatic when I was able to travel with Team USA for the first time, experience international competition. Istanbul was phenomenal. The food there is quite different, but I thought it was amazing. And the competition in itself was just a whole nother level that getting exposed to is, again, just like really a dream come true. And I'm very excited because it's my first, but not my last international competition.
Yeah, that, just talking about the domestic differences between wrestling here in the United States and then going overseas. Like you said, this is your first time even into Turkey, in Istanbul in Turkey. Tell us about training and preparing for, this kind of jump or transition from, before being in college wrestling, and then, you've gone to the US Open, but now going to like this first big international tournament. What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So like I said, this opportunity kind of just presented itself. I'm gearing up for the US Open next month. So I didn't really change anything as far as my game plan, as far as training. I still went to Menlo to train a few times a week. I do that. And then as well as I train with my family here at home, with my uncle. I call him Uncle Coach. And sometimes I'm able to have my brother get on the mat with me, as well as some old high school drill partners. So yeah, that and strength conditioning, of course.
Gotcha. And kind of like what you just mentioned, this is your first time traveling internationally outside of Canada. It counts, doesn't count, or at least the overseas aspect, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like this aspect of, you know, when you're looking at the senior level and you're seeing, you know, like the world team or the national team on the senior level when they go to these tournaments abroad, the travel aspect I think is a little not mysterious, but you know, it's its own thing, you know, prior to the tournament. And I think you have an interesting perspective on this because you've been out there in California and dealing with COVID and just kind of different travel restrictions just even before this, and then now getting this opportunity to, you know, go ahead and travel abroad and do this big tournament. What's your perspective on that?
Yeah. So with being in the Bay Area, it's relatively like heavy protocol on COVID. Not necessarily now more than it was maybe a year ago. But I'm vaxxed, I'm boosted and whatnot because the Bay Area's sake. But yeah, that made traveling to some places easier. For example, getting the visa to go to Turkey and whatnot to do that. But the travel experience within itself, it is kind of, like you said, mysterious, more behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a lot of flight time. How many hours me and my friend Precious, she went to Menlo with me. We were co-team captains. We were roommates actually at one point. And so I was able to find a flight to her and we flew to Turkey together, which was great because I didn't have to do that alone. But definitely it was a lot of airtime, and then getting from, you know, the airports to the venue and whatnot. It was nice because the transportation was there for us. But a lot of it was just like, okay, like what are we doing now? Especially for my experience, because again, it was my first time traveling. But yeah, I think it was a great experience to see other countries as well. Not just like Istanbul, Turkey itself, but other competitors and see them with their team, traveling with Team USA. It's definitely a great experience. And again, I'm looking forward to more opportunities in the future.
And what did that mean to you, you know, getting to travel abroad and be with a Team USA situation and, you know, go out there and represent your country in that way? You know, it's kind of like this bigger stage, you know, of, you know, you're not just wrestling as yourself, Solin Piercy, but you're wrestling also as part of this team representing your country. What was that like?
It was fantastic. So backtrack to last year for the U23s, it was my last year of eligibility to compete in that tournament. So I wasn't able to go, I believe it was Serbia for that trip and represent Team USA for the U23 team. And I was quite honestly pretty bummed about that. But then again, having this opportunity presenting itself, of course, I jumped on it. I was so ecstatic, as I mentioned, and then just to be familiarized with, like, you know, my teammate P, coming from Menlo, coming from California, repping that, going in it together again. But then also being a part of the bigger picture with Team USA for women's wrestling, it was just phenomenal. And again, a dream come true, and it's going to keep continuing. So I'm very, very excited.
And I love that you and Precious Bell got to have that moment with each other. Like you said, you both competed with each other at Menlo College, and then just kind of getting to have that reunion moment, you know, with traveling and then also competing overseas. And for her, you know, this was her first time competing back on the international competition mat. She's been taking some time off as well. So that was really cool that y'all got to have like a reunion. So, you know, getting that, but then like you said, the larger Team USA aspect too.
Yeah. And it's funny that we're talking about, you know, reconnecting with Menlo. I see one of my old drill partners, Angie. Hi, Angie. And then one of my coaches, Tristan as well. Coach T.
Tristan, shout
Yeah.
out. Yes. Thank you guys for joining us. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, of course, we are where we are in 2022, but just even looking back at your time at Menlo, it's kind of, you're part of this interesting group of athletes and student athletes, especially being at Menlo in California. I think y'all had kind of a different experience dealing with COVID and just how things kind of culminated as student athletes than, or, you know, even within the wrestling community than other college wrestling athletes had to deal with. Of course, Menlo just got back, you know, just this year, this season, back into the college competition, but had to take obviously some time off because couldn't come out. So, you know, I'm just curious what your experience was. I think you graduated your 2020 graduate, right?
Right when the pandemic started, we were the group that we flew out. It was the day before the national competition. My team, we were chilling poolside, and you know, we were getting our minds ready. We're getting ready to like go out and give it our all, and then we were told that it was canceled because of COVID. So I was part of that group, unfortunately. But yeah, as you mentioned, it was kind of difficult for me to get back into the wrestling room at Menlo because I was an alum, right, at this point. So I know Menlo was working really hard to do, I think it was like Zoom or like online workouts with the classes after me. And then they slowly were able to, you know, with the help of the school and with whatever protocols would allow, bring people back in for more physical and in-person practices. Yeah.
Of course, like you said.
But I know they're either traveling there, right, or they're
Yes.
like there already. They're competing at the NAIAs this weekend, so super excited for them to be back on the mat. I mentioned I've been in the room with them this season, and there's some great things. I'm very excited to see, you know, the competition there with Menlo and you know, everyone else is competing this weekend as well.
Yeah, just to remind everyone, Menlo, you know, they are the 2019 NAIA championship team. And I think we were all kind of heartbroken when, you know, Menlo couldn't be out there for 2020, 2021. Has it really been 2 seasons? Was it 1 season, 2 season? Anyway, but it's super cool to finally see them back out at the national championships this weekend. Nothing's getting in the way of that. Like you said, they're either there or on their way.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So with that said, you've been back in the room with them, with the team this year. But so, you know, what does training look like for you right now? You know, it's, you know, is it just going to Menlo to train, or where else are you doing training?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually been a question I've been getting a lot coming back into the senior level. It's also really my first time competing at this level because whenever I wrestled in school, it was strictly the school season, whether that's middle school, high school, or college. But now that I like popped back up during COVID times, I've been getting that question a lot. So I have been training at Menlo 2 times a week, I would say. Whenever I can come in. And I've also been, as I mentioned, training at home. I've done a lot of upgrading. Me and my family we've really put in the work to have a mat space in our garage. And my uncle comes in and he's wrestled for you know, the college level, and he's done judo at the Olympic level as well. So we have practices, like I would say 3 times a week. So whenever I'm not practicing at Menlo, I practice at home, and that works out with my flexibility with work.
That's awesome. Yeah, just getting that practice in right in your, not backyard, your garage. I mean, it really, as long as you have you know, space and mat, and then you've got obviously people there who are you know, there to practice with you, and then you have obviously Menlo as that other option for you as well. That's, I mean, sounds good to me. And so that said, now you're on the senior level, and you know, this is kind of where your competition lies, where your goals lie. You know, tell us a little bit about you know, what are some of your goals moving forward as a senior wrestler?
Yeah, my goal is really just to take it as far as it'll let me. To be honest, when COVID hit and, you know, I didn't get the senior year competition how I wanted it to end, with, you know, nationals being canceled and whatnot, I knew I wanted to go back into wrestling, but I wasn't sure exactly how that would look like. And I came back into the sport for the senior level, just wanting to reclaim the sport as my own. I felt like in a sense, I kind of lost sight of the reason why I was wrestling. And I, fell back in love with the sport when the opportunity was taken away from me. And I realized that I can't take anything for granted. So now I'm just gunning for whatever that I can. As I mentioned, I'm training and gearing up for the US Open. So obviously doing well, making it back to the world team trials again, making the world team, and just from there on, just keep getting more international competitions on my belt, refining my styles of wrestling, and see where it takes me.
I think we also sometimes take for granted taking a break, especially for the things that we really love or are passionate about. And if you're grinding all the time and you've been doing this for so long, it can be easy to lose sight of your whys. Like, why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? So it kind of sounds like you had maybe kind of a gift of time, a gift of that being taken away, although it wasn't like ideal. But it made you realize that this was something that you loved and wanted to reclaim as your own and on your own terms, which I think is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So just for everyone, just to recap, so you'll be at the US Open, which is in Las Vegas, right?
Yes, it will be.
So that is coming up next month. And, we're looking forward to seeing you there and, for more senior level opportunities coming your way, which I know that they will be, and I'm super pumped for you. Before we go, are there any shout outs that you want to make or any words of advice, wisdom for the young wrestlers that are out there watching?
Yeah, I actually have a lot of people to shout out. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'll get
go for it.
So sorry if I didn't give you a proper shout out, but it's interesting in terms of timing, because tomorrow I'm actually getting inducted to my high school Hall of Fame. And I'm seeing my middle school coach, my high school coach. He's flying back out. So I want to give them shout outs. Coach Jeremy, Coach Mike, thank you so much for, having faith in me, putting the time and effort, and developing and giving me that foundation for wrestling. Obviously, I want to give a shout out to Menlo. I see some of my Menlo alma mater, my friends, my teammates, my family here. So shout out to them, as well as the coaching staff, Coach Tristan, Coach Barang, and Coach Marcus, and Coach Bianca. She was also my drill partner my freshman year. She really helped me look at wrestling post graduation, and in terms of how I wanted to go about that, whether that be coaching or keep competing. And then also shout out to my family for supporting me in all my wrestling endeavors and my life endeavors. But also shout out to Catherine Allen Fulp, because I remember I was going through a dark time trying to figure out what senior level wrestling would look like for me. And I remember she was so super supportive. She hopped on the phone with me and she gave me great advice. And it really helped me center myself going forward. So definitely all those people that I've mentioned, but also those that I haven't. Thank you so much for all of the support.
I love that you brought up Catherine Shy, because I feel like she has been such an amazing influence on this community, and also to just individual people, like even on this level. I mean, she's even helped me out with some things too. She's just such an amazing person. She really has some great insight, and I'm glad to hear that herself, being a Menlo alumna herself, is able to continue to give back, and for you this way, what are you going to do post Menlo? How are you going to continue your wrestling career? And also, big congratulations on your high school wrestling Hall of Fame. That is so cool. I love that so much.
Thank you.
It's like your wrestling career flashing before your eyes. Moving on to the next chapter, right? I feel like that's so appropriate. I love that so much.
Yeah, and I love that it's, a continuous give back to the sport. I know that Sophia and you talked about it before, about seeing all these young girls and women growing, all these programs popping up, all these opportunities. But it's great because I see people reaching out to everyone, just like, oh, I spoke to so and so, this little girl had such great aspiration, now she's out there on the mat. I've connected with a few people on my trips, and I get to follow their journey, and like they make state and they win and they do all this stuff, but or they just, you know, they overcome their challenges that I spoke with them about. And it's just so empowering to see that female wrestling in general is just growing in, you know, USA, but then also worldwide.
No, I couldn't have agreed more. Well, thank you so much, Solin. Definitely, if there's anything else that you want to throw out there before we go for it. Is there any other words, any other things you want to say?
Nothing that comes to mind, but thank you so much, LARA-LAY, for inviting me again on this live. So
Yes.
yeah, I love following your information and all your content. So thank you again.
Awesome. No, I love hearing that. Thank you so much. You know, just like what you're saying, you know, just giving back and sharing stories and just really giving access, as much access to this sport and exposure as much as possible. I mean, that's always the goal. And having women, strong women such as yourself on here and getting to share, you know, some of your experience with other people in hopes that, you know, whatever you might have experienced might help someone else, or, you know, whatever you are going through might inspire someone else, you know, for whatever they might be going through on their journey. So I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of you on the competition mat. Again, everyone, US Open, that's next month in April in Las Vegas. And of course, we'll be covering that. I won't be there, I think. I don't know, I might throw out a last minute trip. Who knows? It's in Las Vegas, and I think there's like an NFL draft that's happening at the same time or something crazy like that. But until next time, I don't know. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person again. And good luck with everything. And you know, just enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much again.
Thanks, LARA-LAY. Bye, everyone.
All right, and bye, Wreaper Wrestlers. I'll be throwing this up on IGTV after we're done. So if you didn't catch the beginning, or maybe you bounced on and off, I will be posting this so you can see the whole thing. But thank you, everyone, so much for joining in today. You can also watch the Wreaper Live that I did with Sophia Mirabella just right before this one. I have that up on IGTV as well. So until next time, have a wonderful Thursday, Wreaper Wrestlers. Goodbye. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'll be talking with more wrestlers from the NCAAs that happened last weekend. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Bye.